Okay, so after the doctor gives me the doctor's note and tells me to only fill the prescription if there's signs of infection, which is hot to the touch, fever, things like that. Okay. So at the time, there's no sign of infection or anything like that. So she allows me to go home with my son. There's no sign of child abuse or anything. Everything lines up with the story that I told her about what happened to my son's life. My son cannot talk, nothing. Okay. So I send my son Jonah back to daycare the very next day with his brother Jonathan. And um, nobody said anything to me about his mouth since I explained to them the day before, right before I took him to the doctor. I had to drop my son Jonathan off at the daycare, who was also bused along with Jonah to Sunshine Developmental School located on 91-10, 146th Street off Sutton Boulevard, Hampton, Virginia. Um, basically, everything was fine. I asked Jonah's teacher to fax the letter to the school like I always did, and the school always received the letter, but on that one particular morning, they didn't receive it. And they never called me or my husband. They had both of our phone numbers at the time. They never called me or my husband to find out what happened. Instead, they called the grandparents who lived across the street. Jonah did not live with his grandparents at the time, and they knew it. But they still called over there to act like they were concerned, but never called me on my cell phone or my husband at all. Instead, they called ACS on me. Um, and this is how competent the workers at ACS are. Okay, they tell Sunshine Developmental School to send my children home. Jonah, the one that they're claiming, told them that I punched him in the face, home to me. They knew that Jonah comes home to me in the afternoon, but they still told the school to send Jonah home, even though I'm quote unquote the abuser. Okay, everyone knows that if someone at home is abusing their child, you do not send that child back home to their abuser because the abuser might kill them, right? Well, that's how competent Sunshine Developmental School as well as ACS is. Okay. Um, so Evan Wachuku comes to the house at 5:30 p.m. on June 24th, 2009. Okay. He comes with two social workers. They were two women that came with him. And I looked at them a little bit like, what the hell are you doing here? And then I said, well, whatever. It's a regular visit. They wait until they come inside and tell me they have to take me down to the Children's Advocacy Center, which is located on Queens Boulevard here in Queens, New York. Okay. Basically, when we get up there, they want to question my kids by themselves, and I argue with the caseworkers and all the staff from the Children's Advocacy Center, including the detective um, that was there as well, um, try to intimidate me into letting my children be questioned alone. Okay, I never consented to anyone speaking to my kids by themselves or anything like that. Now, at this time, allegations haven't been proven. To this day, allegations have not been proven. However, I'm currently homeless. Yes, I've been sleeping on the street. How am I able to get on YouTube? Because from time to time, I'm able to go to someone's house and use my computer. Okay. Um, anyway, so while all of this is going on, Ephraim Wachuku has a camera around his neck and he sneaks my son Jonah to a back room to take pictures of him. Okay, um, as so-called evidence. Okay, um, and my husband comes later on, and ACS tells us that because we don't have a doctor's note, that they have to remove the children that night with no proof of abuse whatsoever. Okay. We tell them that because we live close by, we could get the note and show it to ACS. They weren't interested in that. All they were interested in was taking our kids and putting them into foster care that evening without an investigation whatsoever. Um, so after that, we start going to court, back and forth to court, blah, blah, blah. But the day after, we show Ephraim the doctor's note anyway. And ACS does not really release our kids from foster care at all. They keep them in foster care for that entire year. Um, I become depressed because of them kidnapping my kids for false allegations. And I've been going, oh, now I remember the name. Joanna Escobar is her name. So it's Joanna Escobar, Eden Farnham, and Dina DiMacci from Sunshine Developmental School that went on the family court stand under oath and lied and said Jonah said, Mommy said not to touch it, and my mother punched me in the mouth. When Jonah couldn't speak more than two-word utterances. Um, Even the medical doctor came in to court and testified and stated that there was no sign of abuse, no sign of infection, nothing like that. She gave the prescription for a just in case. I noticed any signs of infection. There was no sign of infection whatsoever. Um, so it's 3 years later. It is now March 30th, 2012. It's 3 years later after, you know, them sending me to the phony ass psychiatrist who writes in his report that I'm depressed and that I'm not fit to be around my kids. Who's going to be happy that their kids are kidnapped by ACS? Okay, if I would have been smiling while talking to him, he would have said, yeah, she definitely did it. She's not remorseful, this and that, you know. So no matter, I went through the parenting classes, anger management, therapy, everything, still have not gotten my kids back. The allegations were never proven. In fact, all of the evidence is pointing to me not doing it. I have never had a history of hospitalizations in the psych ward prior to this case. However, I've had two hospitalizations in the psych ward because of this case. Once I tried to commit suicide because they threatened to put my kids with strangers if I did not find an alternative place to live. Okay. The second time was because my cousin died and I got into an argument with my husband and I was going to school at the time. So, I usually take a no-dose to stay up all night to study. And after I finished studying, I still couldn't fall asleep. So my back was hurting as well. So I took Flexeril and I mixed it with Benadryl as well. And I had a bad adverse reaction to the medications. And I came downstairs from studying and I let my husband know I didn't feel too well. My limbs were loopy and stuff. I couldn't feel my legs or anything because of Flexeril, and the intense drowsiness was because of the Benadryl. So I went to get checked out. The hospital thought I had overdosed, but they did a blood test on me. It showed I did not overdose at all. Um, But because of my non-reaction to the questions, because of the drug interaction made me, react that way. The hospital thought that I had overdosed, so they kept me for 7 days. I told them I was sad because of the death of my cousin, and because I had a argument with my husband, but I was not depressed. I didn't want to kill myself, nothing like that, but they still kept me for a week. They put me on Zoloft. I don't take it because I'm not depressed. But the damages from this case, I would say I have severe anxiety now. I'm afraid when somebody comes to the door, knocks on the door, rings the bell. I'm afraid to go outside. I'm afraid of public places. I'm afraid of being around a big group of people. I'm afraid that somebody's after me, trying to kill me or hurt me. I'm afraid to meet new people. I have all these feelings because of ACS. Okay, my children constantly live in fear that someone is going to try to come and take them from their father because of ACS and their bullshit. Someone has to expose these people because they are not on their job. If they were on their job, they wouldn't be wasting their time on cases like mine. My case would be closed. They'd be paying attention to children who really are being abused. Okay. I hope someone sees this video and they call up the news channel, and if you want to reach me, you can write me at medicalstudent1228@gmail.com. I would love to talk more about my story of my ACS case. It's still currently going on because I haven't pleaded guilty to the charges against me. I've been forced to live outside the home. I've been going from house to house. I sleep in the train station. I sleep on the street. That's no way for a mother who hasn't done anything to live. It's hard for me to find a job out here, with the economy and stuff like that. I just graduated from school. I'm waiting to take my certifications, and um, basically, I have very little to no money right now. I used to have housing. I had to fake a diagnosis in order to get the housing. And once I became pregnant with my now 1-year-old daughter, who was born 2 months premature because of the stress from the case, my own lawyer that was appointed by the courts pressuring me to plead guilty. I already had complete privy with the pregnancy, but every time I would think about, the stress from the case and things like that, I would start to bleed. And then I gave birth to her on my birthday, which was December 28, 2010. She's a beautiful little girl. I love her so much. I love all my kids. I have 5 children now. No more. But I'm not gonna have any more after that. But I just want to be reunited with my kids, and they have no intention of reuniting me with my kids. If someone out there could help us, volunteer to take guardianship over our 3 boys and our 2 girls, that would be great. We'll even pay you. Um, you know, contact me. Someone help. You know, um, help save my kids from these monsters. It's not even about me. I'm not pleading guilty to the charges no matter what. But ECS is really, really trying to take my kids from my husband, as well as the foster care agency Harlem Dowling is trying to take my daughter from her grandparents as well. The workers right now that are involved, because my husband and I have sued administration for children's services before, as long as with the worker, and from True Food, he's been taken off of the case because of conflict of interest. So right now, Alicia Camps is on the case for ACS. Miss Nicola Allen, as well as, I don't even know the guy's name, but I'll give you the guy's name as soon as I get it. Haven't met him yet, but as soon as I do, it's gonna be party time. So again, you guys can reach me at medicalstudents1228 at gmail.com.